Hello and welcome to Own It magazine and publishing. My name is Marisa Bludarn, and I am just so excited to have with me this afternoon Dr. Hattie Washington. She is one of my favorites. She is a motivational speaker, educator, consultant, and she is the founder of Aunt Hattie's Place. Taking center stage and owning it with me is Honorary, co-author of the Own It anthology. It's your life. Own it unapologetically. She is taking center stage and owning it with me today. I love this. This is such a treat for me. I get so excited. I was thinking this afternoon in regards to, just who you are, Dr. Washington, and just how your story talks about the young men that you found walking around the streets during school time, and how you saw them and you said, this something wrong with this, and you spoke to them. And I could just say, I love my life and I love the outcome of my life. I said, but had I had a Dr. Washington, had I had an Aunt Hattie, I would be if you think I'm a force to be reckoned with right now, I would definitely be a force to be reckoned with right now. You are what the world needs today. And so it is with great honor and great humility and humbleness in heart that you didn't count it robbery to be a part of one of my legacy projects, which is the Own It anthology. And so I truly, truly thank you. I truly, truly appreciate you. And you're just amazing. You are a phenomenal woman.
Am I to respond to that? Only thing I can say to you, Marissa, is I'm just honored and humble and feel blessed that you selected me as an honorary author. I'm usually writing books, and for someone to write about me, it's an honor. But it also gives me an opportunity to motivate other women. This is Women History Month.
Yes.
To motivate other women and other people to give back and to pay it forward. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have anything to give. I'm just trying to make it myself. But everybody has something to give. I call it the 3 T's: your time, the treasure, or your talent. And everybody's good at something. So if you don't have the treasure, which is money, to donate, give your time, just volunteer. And many
Yes.
times people just need another body to keep telling them they can do it. You are
Yes.
smart, you are great, and you can do it. That's so important. And then your talent. Everybody has something you can do, whether you can cook, whether you can sew, whether you can teach your kids how to make things. So it gives me an opportunity to spread that around, as someone did for me when I was growing up. As you know, my mother died when I was 3.
Yes.
So I had people, my stepmother mainly, who kept telling me I was smart and smart. And then I
Mm.
had a period in my life when I had no one to encourage me. In fact, they were very mean, didn't believe in
Yes.
education. They were as a relative, but I was a foster kid under their watch. No support. So you have to be driven, self-driven,
Yes.
to talk to yourself and tell yourself what God has your purpose. I didn't know what God's purpose was, but I knew my dad said you're gonna be some big, and education is your key. So I kept that in the back of my mind.
Wow, wow. And you always you express that the importance of you having to have that innate. It has to be internal. You have to have that drive to succeed for yourself. Like you have to have the support, the external support, but you need to have something within inside of yourself. You have to dig deep inside of yourself to get that passion for your life. And you reference and say you didn't know, like you didn't know what God's plan was for your life. And we always talk about, so
Mhm.
many people quote Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, plans for good and not for evil, to give you a hope in the future. I say what God is saying to us there is, ask me the plans, right? Because
Right.
He's the one who knows the plans. But if you're going to be the one who implements the plans, you gotta.
You don't need him. You can do your own thing, just like the footprints, the poem. When you
Mhm.
wonder, Lord, why I only see one set of footprints when you said you're going to walk by my side. And the Lord said, you see one set of footprints because I'm carrying you.
Along the way.
And that's heavy. You got to have that faith that you can't see, but you got to believe that God is carrying you through the rough times as well as the good times.
That is so amazing, so amazing. I want to talk. I know that you're the honorary author, co-author of the Own It anthology, but you've also published your own books.
Yes.
And okay, so her book is Aunt Hattie's Southern Comfort Favorite Foods Cookbook, and I'm bringing this up because I want the audience to really understand that we met in 2021. At the end of the year, Dr. Hattie Washington was our November, the Own It November cover girl. And we met, we connected, and my God, there you go. Oh my God, we connected so that I actually, I think I self invited myself, and you were just so open and welcoming. And I had the opportunity to actually be there with you and to really just adapt to, you're my Aunt Hattie. And so I want to show you that I have her book and I have the hardcover in English because this also comes in Spanish too, correct?
The Driven to Succeed is in
Oh,
Spanish. Uh,
the Driven
that's
to
not
Succeed
yet,
is
but
also.
I've been requested to do that in Spanish. So that's the
Oh
next
yeah,
part.
because hello,
Yeah.
this was good. And so I want the audience to really understand that I mean when you talk about hospitality, that southern hospitality is there. So I want to share with the audience us being together. So here's the evidence. I remember waking up and seeing the food just spread out, and that's us, and that was us combined it bonding together. It was such a good
Yeah.
time. And if you see the food on the plates, it's Southern style. You got your meat, you got your eggs, you got everything, and it was just really, really warm and inviting. It was around the Christmas holiday, so your house was
The
fully
Southern grits. Don't forget the Southern
decorated. Oh
grits
my
and hot
God!
biscuits, hot buttered biscuits.
We got something for them. We got something for them. It was just amazing. And look up close and front and personal to this dish.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're making
Does
me
that
hungry
not
now.
listen? Does that not look delicious or what? That does not. And so she told me. She said, Marisa, when you come here, that's it. I'm gonna take care of you. And you did from the time that I walked into the door. And we had so many different great conversations. I mean, we could talk for hours. It was like, do we go to sleep now or what? Right? Do we go to sleep now or what? And this is her Aunt Hattie's Southern Comfort Food Favorites cookbook. And
Hmm.
it is available on her website. The website is right here, drhnwashington.com. And you can go to her website and you can get all of her publications there. And you can find out more about what she does as well. And so, you know,
Can I say, Melissa, that if you go to the website, you get a discount in honor of
mm,
Black History Month and Women's History Month, which is year round. So if you go straight to the web, if you go to Amazon, you have to pay the full price. So just
mhm.
remember that.
Yeah, you always when you have an author, if, as long as that author has a website, you want to go to their website to
Yes.
get to
Get all
purchase.
the
That's where,
goodies.
yeah, because that's where the goodies are.
Yeah.
And in some cases, authors are still there, putting it out and signing and all that other good stuff. So you want to make sure that you go to the authors directly. and get their publications. Well, I tell you, not only did the food look good, it was delicious, and you just kept it coming. I mean, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we kept it coming. Beautiful home. By poolside, we had bonfire by poolside. Great conversation.
The
Just
fire
really
pit.
felt,
The fire
yes,
pit.
just felt.
Well,
Yes.
listen, may I say to the audience that the cookbook has won Amazon #1 bestseller in 6 different categories,
Wow.
which usually people may win #1 in maybe 1 or 2 or 3 categories,
Yes.
but 6 different categories we won Amazon #1 bestseller. So when you get this book, you're really getting a legacy, a generational type of country cooking that's healthy, because in the country we ate everything from the garden.
Hmm.
The vegetables and the fruit from the trees, the apple trees, the apple cobblers, everything was from the garden. And I didn't know then that we were eating organic when
Right.
you hadn't heard of the word organic. So it's as healthy as you can eat Southern comfort. And in the
Yes.
back, there's a whole directory of substitutions. If you get a recipe that calls for sugar or something that's not as healthy, you can
Right.
look on the substitution list and see what you can
Wow.
substitute in that recipe that's more healthy than some of the
Wow.
ingredients.
And you have the glossary in the back.
Yes, yes, has a glossary in the back, as well as the calories and the proteins for each serving that you have, and I also have the measurements. If you have a recipe from a British cookbook or some other cookbook that's using metrics and it
Mhm.
calls for a cup, is a different size than the
Mhm.
American cup.
Okay.
So I have break that down in the back. So if you have a recipe and it's British and says cup, this is how much you use instead
Right.
of the American cup. So it's very very entertaining as well as interesting, which is why we won another award for our directory.
Wow. 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 That's the educator in you. That
Yes,
is the
yes.
educator in you. And that's a beautiful thing. I remember being a kid, there were just certain teachers that went the extra mile, had a whole different level of excellence and expectation of the students. And what
Hmm.
that did for the student was that made the student rise up. It didn't
Yes.
allow the student to be slowful. It made the student rise up. And I tell you, when I had teachers like that, my grades were on point. It's when I didn't have teachers that cared that my grades were average. But whenever I came across a teacher that provoked me to own, you know what I mean? Provoked me
Yes,
to
yes,
own my knowledge. Didn't allow me to, undercut my
hmm
ability. That's when I showed up, and we are desperate today for teachers and administration, because we talk about how it takes a village to
hmm
raise a kid. I remember that not only did I get words of wisdom or lessons learned from my parents, I got them from the adults in the community that
Oh, yeah.
cared. The ones that really, really cared took the time and didn't discipline you for disciplinary sake. They
hmm
disciplined you because they wanted to see you at your best.
Right, right.
Uh,
hmm
so
So
talk to us
without
a
a
little bit about that. When I asked you to be a part of the Own It anthology, what were your thoughts in regards to what it means to really own it? Because own it is not just own it. It's about really owning who you are, taking responsibility for your actions, and taking
doubt.
ownership of your life, and then living it intentionally. So let me know your thoughts about that.
Well, when you first asked me to be in the anthology, I thought I had to write a chapter like I've done for other anthologies, like the Sisters for Sisters, lovely, lovely anthology, and the Think Pink with Antonio Crawford. I wrote chapters in that as well as the Smile book. But when you said, no, you don't have to write it, I'm writing about you. And
Right.
I'm thinking, what? Why? And you went on to explain to me, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. And I said, I didn't do this by myself. I have a
Yeah.
village of supporters who have
Yes.
helped me, including my daughter, who helped to run the boys' home, and so many board members and supporters, one thing to another. So whenever I get some type of honor, I'm compelled to pass it on to all of those people in my life who helped me to raise those over 100 foster boys in 22 years. And it's not a day or week go by that I don't hear from some of those young men to let me know what they're doing. Or they think, Aunt Hattie, I think you'll want to know I got a promotion on my job. Or I think you want to know, Aunt Hattie, that I'm having a baby. And my boys are all colors, white, mixed, African, and most
Mhm.
of them are African Americans. That was my mission. But in
Right.
the course of social service, you can't say, well, I only take black boys. But
Right.
you take them all, and they are so close. They're like brothers. And I think the white kids think they're black.
Oh, absolutely.
Call me
I'm not
daddy.
surprised.
And so when you had me to tell me that, I was like, okay, I want to pass that compliment on, and to thank so many people just give me that chance to do that. And you did a beautiful job in writing about me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Thank
how did you know that? How did you remember that?
Yes.
From
Yes.
reading my website, reading
Yep.
my book, talking to me, you have put it all together in such an excellent way. Usually I
Oh,
have
thank
to
you.
do some editing, but I said, she knows me like my daughter. When my daughter writes, I don't know if it's me or Cheryl, because
Oh,
she's in my head and she knows how I'm
yeah.
thinking, how I'm feeling, and you have that same gift. And I call it
Thank
a
you.
gift.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, you have enough information out there about who you are. You have enough awards out there and, honoraries. Um, so, when you have someone who has has been such a pillar in the community and just giving back, it makes it a lot easier to write. It's not challenging because it's there. It's just there. One of the things I really enjoyed, it was really like, it really spoke to me, and who actually gets help and who doesn't. And I remember the part where you graduated high school and now you're ready to go to college, but you didn't know the difference between you knew the difference between going to college and school, but you didn't know the structure. And so when you walked into the college and you were like, listen, I'm here to attend. I love how you didn't take offense to them, to the administrator saying, hey, there's a process here. You just said, look, I'm here to attend. You were driven. You're like, I'm here to
Absolutely.
attend, and whatever we got to do, because I'm attending. And that's it. And you were open, so you were driven. You didn't let lack of knowledge stop you or embarrass you. You went for it.
It's amazing when I look back on my life, how many people show up at a college, haven't applied, haven't been admitted, and looking for your homeroom. They knew that I was a first generation college student. They also knew that the high school had not prepared me.
Hmm.
And sometimes people assume because you're a foster kid that you're not going to college. So they don't spend the time
Yep.
helping you to be someplace, even though I was an honor student. So it goes
Hmm.
to show you how important parental support is and parental involvement. Since my relatives never came out to anything, the school just assumed, well, she's not going to college. I
Yeah.
knew I was going. So I just
Right.
stepped on the campus of a homeroom. Didn't know the process. So they said, have you been admitted? And I'm looking wide eyed like, what you talking about? Admitted. Have you
Yeah.
applied? These
Yes.
words I didn't know.
Yeah.
So first generation HBCUs understand that. And so they took me by the hand and took me down. to the admissions office and say, this young lady's looking for a homeroom and she hasn't applied. I don't think she's applied. And so they weren't making fun of me. They just gave the story, and
Yeah.
they helped me to apply, to fill out the forms. And then I didn't know you had to pay. You know,
Yeah.
I had to pay for high school. Like, okay,
Right.
how? Well, we applied for a national defense loan, and you need your relative to fill out this form. Took it home and took one look at the form, and my aunt said, "I'm not filling out that form. I don't want people knowing my business."
Yeah. Yep.
Like, what type of business you don't want them to know? But
No.
anyway, they helped me to, I was going to be 18 that October 6th is my birthday. So
Right.
they
Okay.
helped me. They said, we declare you independent
Right.
and you
Okay.
can do your own form. You don't need anybody to sign for you. So I always think about that. And I think about if I had gone someplace else,
What would have happened?
people, they may call security or something on you, and you never would have gone. But I
Right.
went to the right place, Norfolk State University. My two daughters went to the same school,
Nice.
and my relatives. After I started the ball rolling, we got my cousins, my three cousins,
Oh
and other
yeah.
relatives, everybody going up to Norfolk State or going to some college. And
Right.
that's what happens in families. One person can start the ball rolling, and people think, well, she can do it, or if he can do it, I can do it too. And so here we are.
Yeah, and it's so important for family and those who are sitting in adoration to not be jealous, to not be envious, and to
Absolutely.
allow the one who has the trailblazer to show them the way,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the hiccup comes. The
Yes.
hiccup comes when you say, "Hey, this is the better route. This is the better way. I know the way. Let me show you." Because it's really not about competition. It's really about making a transformation in the generations to,
Without a doubt.
yeah, to bring the generations up. And so it's beautiful to hear that the family just really took you opening the pathway, and they all ran with it. That is what you want, right?
Yes.
When you lay down your life with a price, because you
Mm-hmm.
do. When you're the first one going, you're the one getting the weeds hit in the face and everything else, because you're cutting through the tough
You're the
places.
trailblazer for
Right.
everybody. But you know
Yeah.
what is also so important? When everybody else in my family knows if you're going to go to college or what have you, let me know. I will
Yeah.
help you in any way. And I have this program called Easy Learn, Earn as you learn. For every A, nephews, cousins, I don't care who you are. If you're in school, if you make an A, you get $10 from me. If you make
Mm.
a B, you get $5. If you make a C, you owe me 20.
Yeah, I know that's the truth.
So they sometimes they may start making good grades because they want the money, like my foster
Right.
boys. But
Right.
then it becomes intrinsic. They
Yep.
like the fact that I'm smart. I mean, I didn't know I was this smart. And then
Right.
they becomes you don't have to pay them. And also, when you get a degree or you get whatever you're getting, you
Right.
got to keep your feet on the ground and keep your head out of the clouds. Sometimes we forget who we are. Once we get a little education, as the old people say,
Yep.
and you don't give back, you don't look back. Now you better than your grandparents who still saying, "I be gone," and I should have hoped. They said, "Grandma, you don't speak. That's not proper English." Well, you
Right.
get your degree, so don't think you're more than your
No.
grandparents or even your parents. We got so many of our people like that,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
they don't give back, they don't look back, and they don't help anybody else climb the ladder but themselves.
Yeah, I can remember when my ex-husband and I were having our house built, and it was huge for us. Like, having a house built from the ground up, and we were only I was in my early 30s,
Mm,
um, and this was the second house, and we could see all of the advancement that we were experiencing. Um, And I can remember praying, Lord, keep my feet on the ground and my head human size. And
Yes,
that was
yes.
my prayer, because with growth and advancement can come arrogance. And I saw what I was seeing, and I didn't want any part of it. And my heart just cried out to God, keep me humble. Keep
Mm-hmm.
me humble. Because guess what? You go up, you can fall down.
Same way you go up, you can come back down. And look, since
Woo!
you know how to exist on what they call air sandwiches, two pieces of bread slammed together, or some bologna and no mayonnaise, and sometimes a biscuit sandwich. We know how to exist on
Yeah,
that. If you lose everything tomorrow, you don't have a heart attack and a nervous breakdown because you don't have a housekeeper anymore. You can't afford the
yeah,
maid. I
yes,
can clean my own house if I necessary. If my housekeeper doesn't show up a couple of days, I used to clean up for Pope when I was in high
right.
school. So I can clean my own house. So we don't get all perturbed if things go wrong in our life because we can
Yeah.
survive. That's why you have to stay humble
Yes.
and help so many other people to come and to enjoy some of the things that God has blessed you. You didn't do it all by yourself. So that
Nope.
is so
Nope.
important.
And he says, to whom much is given, much is required.
Much is
We're
required.
required to give back. And it
Absolutely.
feels good when you give back and you can help someone else. It's rewarding. It's really, really rewarding.
The best feeling is when you give to someone and you see their face. That's
Yep.
better than money.
Yes, it is.
It's just
When you
such
see
a
someone
feeling you get that
flourishing.
you can't describe when you're helping so many. And when people come back later, like my students at Compton would say, well, you motivated me to get my PhD. One of my students told me last week, you told me I was smart. You told me, I need to go further than my master's degree. That always rang in my ear. Now I'm finished my PhD and I want you to be the first to know.
Yeah.
Or my foster kids will call me back and say, you took us to the opera, you took us to the play, and now I like classical music. I used to
Yes.
call it
Woo.
supermarket. I don't like that supermarket music or that elevator music. And now, these things are the most rewarding. It's worth more than silver and gold.
Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome. So this is honorary co-author of This It's Your Life, Own It Unapologetically. But she's also she's the author in her own right, number one bestseller, um, incredible woman, phenomenal woman. And so Driven to Succeed is one of her books as well. And she also has some apparel that goes with her books. And I just want to give you a glimpse at that. So check it out.
That's
I
beautiful.
love that you even have it for the babies.
Yes. And this is
Oh,
one of
nice.
the t-shirts, Driven to Succeed on the front. And they
Yes.
have different logos. You have the horizontal one. You also have a vertical one. If you want to put it down the side of your exercise pants, you can get them where you can iron them on or
Okay.
sew them
Nice.
on the applique, or you can buy the t-shirts. I mean, I think I have so many. I have a niece which wanted to lose weight, and she saw one of the podcasts I think that you had done, and
Okay.
she
Yeah, I
said,
remember that.
okay, this is it. I am going to start losing weight. And every time she goes to the gym, she has on something with Driven to
Oh,
Succeed on it. She said that
yes.
she visualized. I told her first, visualize who you want to be, how many pounds you want to lose. And then you got to put forth the effort, be driven. So every time she goes, she wears something with driven
Mhm.
on it. And even her trainer has asked, why do you wear that? What? And she told her motivation. And so he, as the trainer, has started using some of the driven to succeed paraphernalia. But you got to visualize that you can't just say, okay, I believe it. Sometimes you need some help. Maybe a crutch or maybe your motivation catalyst. Wear something. I wear them many times, driven to succeed, as you know. And it
Right.
just
Yes.
motivates me. And it's a conversation piece. If I go to the supermarket, somebody say, or I was taking physical therapy. Says, so tell me about that T-shirt. Where do you buy them and what does it mean? And it gives me a chance to talk about it. And
Yes.
so it's really good for young people, middle school, high school, and anybody to get some visualization of being motivated. That's why I call it motivational merchandise.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it how you can put it on the babies too. I love
Yes,
it how you can put it on.
early, early. Yes,
Yes, get them early. That's when you need to get them. Well, we're gonna have you on BTG. We need to have you on the BTG live with our BTG team, and that's bridging the gap, strategizing for student success. Because all of what you're talking about today is really what we really need in our communities. We need that
yes.
old time, that old school kind
Mm-hmm.
of teacher that
Absolutely.
really, really cares and understands, and even can relate to and see what the impact is, because
Yes.
today it's a seed. The things that we do are seeds today. The present
Mm-hmm.
is a seed. Tomorrow, the future is the harvest, and we
Absolutely.
want to make sure that um, you got to bring back that, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yes, some things in the past were not so great, but there were some great things in the past, and that was
Oh yes.
accountability. We had lost accountability. We've lost care and concern. We've lost that, and we need to regain it if we're going to regain
Absolutely.
the generations. And so I want to share. This is the Own It anthology. She is our honorary author. Like I said at the top of the show, just so impressed and when I think, my God, had I had Aunt Hattie back in the day, and it's a beautiful thing. And so sometimes when someone hears you say, "Oh, if I could have did this differently," or if I could have, they think of it in a kind of like a bad way. But when I think about what I could have been with you, it's beautiful for me to think about. It's not
Yes.
like, oh my God, I'm so sad. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that you can appreciate all the substance, all the quality, and all of the, integrity
Mm-hmm.
that you draw out of an individual. Whether it's a young person, I'm pretty sure peer to peer, you draw that out through accountability and excellence and showing up. And it's refreshing to think. So the little girl in me says, "Yeah, I Hattie." And then, once you meet someone that has that influence,
Mm-hmm.
impact, when you get ready, even though you're not in their presence all the time, you're still held accountable because
Absolutely.
you still feel like, okay, when you think about all your advisors and your mentors and those people who matter most to you, and how they would feel about anything that you're doing, it
Yes.
is an invisible accountability presence. And I invite it like wholeheartedly. So you're always with me. You're always speaking to me, even in the absence. And I truly appreciate it. And like I said, I wouldn't have wanted to do this project and not have you around the final point. I said, now it's time for me to add Aunt Hetty. I said, now it's time because I could spend all of that time with you and going through it with you and making sure that My T's were crossed and my I's were dotted. And it was a real treasure. And I know that you were traveling and taking that into consideration, that you were in movement when we were working on your piece. So really, really appreciated you not counting a robbery to be a part of it. And so we're going to be here. Can you believe it? Next month, we'll be here in the Dominican Republic, celebrating the completion of the project. There's
Uh-huh.
57 authors. It's actually 56. I did an honorary chapter to my mom. An
Oh,
honorary chapter,
oh,
yeah. Just discussion, because that's big. What you said about your
yes.
mom's influence, your family's influence. And when you think about owning it, part of one of the challenges can be is if that family dynamics is not what it should be. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and I don't remember where I heard it, but just recently, I heard someone say, you can't keep holding your parents captive because they didn't know what to do. It's, as a matter of fact, it was TD Jakes. Um, that you can't keep holding them because they didn't know what to do. You
Right.
know, our
Right.
elders didn't always know what to do. They didn't know to be intentional in raising us. They knew to provide for us. And I'm just so thankful that I had the opportunity to have that level of wisdom, understanding, and compassion with my mom. But I talk about the dynamics of the mom-daughter relationship, and how when you're forgiving and you have an open heart, you can actually the relationship can flourish, right? So you can come
It's,
to a different space.
and sometimes, even if they know what to do, they couldn't, based on
Yeah,
their income or where they work or the restrictions. And going back a couple of generations, your
right.
grandparents, when they were slaves, they may have
Hmm.
known what to do, but no way could they do what we can do now with our kids.
Right, right,
And
right.
so I often say to parents, don't try to be your kid's friend when you're rearing them. You need to be the parent. They got their friends.
Yeah,
So you got to be the parent. And if the answer is no, you don't need to be upset because you're saying no. If they
no,
can't stay out all night, they can't be drinking in your house, they can't be doing, you have your rules
you
and you're
have
the
your
parent. And
yeah.
believe it or not, kids want that structure.
Oh, yes, they do. They
They
do.
want
They
that
need it.
structure. They don't want to do anything because all their friends get to do what they want to do. And
Right,
so they want you to say no, and they put it on you. Well, I would stay out, but my mama would kill me. Or I got
right.
to go home because my mama or my daddy was. And so they may put it on the parents because they don't want to be out there with these kids that they know are not up to any good. And so
No.
you just have to be the parent. And then later, you can be best friends when they get grown. And
As the development
try
stages,
to don't feel bad that you have to say no. If you know it's the right thing to do, you
yeah,
put your foot down, and those kids feel more secure because they know you love them and you're not going to let them do anything that's going to ruin their life in the future.
that's right. Because then they feel your love. Your love
They
is
do.
what protects them and guides
A lot
them.
of that's the mistake that a lot of parents make. Say, "Oh, I don't want them to be upset."
No, are
Uh,
you kidding me? I did not have that problem with my kids.
no, no, you be the parent, and they're going to love you for it. They may not tell you. They may act like they're upset, but they know you love them, and you got boundaries, and that they appreciate those.
Absolutely, absolutely. D Sands, thank you for chiming in. And she says, yeah, they'll thank you, your children will thank you later. They most definitely will thank you later. And they'll appreciate and value you. My
Without
kids are much older today, and I could tell you they still are like, Ma, like, but you guys are so much older, but they still look for that guiding hand. And I
yeah.
tell you what, even after I was married and had my children, I wanted to be on the bosom of my mom. That's how. And
Mm-hmm.
the beautiful thing is, I could have been angry, I could have been indifferent, and all these other things. But I'm glad that God gave me a heart to forgive, to be
Mm-hmm.
understanding, to relate to my mom. I thank God that even though I was young when my mom passed away, I was already a wife. I was already a mother, so I could relate more to her challenges as a woman. And
Yeah.
so as a result, we had a beautiful run the last part of her life, and me going into adulthood. We had a beautiful relationship, and had
Beautiful.
I not
Beautiful.
had that, yeah, had I not had that, and I had resentment because I didn't realize I am a high achiever. I did not know that that was in me. If you would have asked me as a kid, I would have thought I'm some average person and blah. And I still feel like I'm not doing anything big. But when I look at some of the things that I go after, I am a woman of standard and a woman of excellence. And for me, I did not know that as a young person growing up because that wasn't our conversations. That
No.
wasn't our conversation. The pursuit of what would equip you to be, one that excels. We didn't have those conversations. We had political
Hmm.
conversations. We had heartfelt. I really had a lot of heartfelt and political conversations with my father, because my mom was too busy handling all the stresses of being a single mom. But I had all those conversations with him, and that's what gave me the grounded wisdom and things that I do today. Being adventurous enough to move to another country, and to be comfortable with doing that. That's my dad.
I love
That's
it. I love it. Yeah, I
yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And my administrative and my professional side comes from my mom. That is my mom. She's a truly class act woman, and just total respect for her. And
Hmm.
yeah, I want to make sure that I honor her. And so having that transparent conversation so that other women know, don't be mad at your mom. There's certain circumstances and there's certain influences that folks are talking to your mom, folks are talking to your parents, and they're trying to sift through all of that information and try to make the best decisions by you. And we need to walk in a place of forgiveness and understanding,
Hmm.
so that relationships can be restored. And so in the book of Own It, live your life, it's your life, own it unapologetically. It's real stories. It's real stories about things that we have to live through, I always say press through the mess to get to God's best, that we have
Right.
to live through, but we can survive it. We can
Without a
not
doubt.
only survive it, but we can thrive. We can thrive and we can live our lives in a fulfilling and, happy, wholehearted way, the way that God intended us. And that's what the book is. It goes from novice, new people, first time writing, uh,
Hmm.
experts like yourself,
Beautiful stories.
coaches. Yes,
Beautiful stories
thank
that
you.
they have. But I wanted to say people who have parents, who have a mother, especially, and sometimes they take it for granted and they don't call, they don't check on them. And those people whose mother died when they were younger, they wake up and say, "Oh
Ye-
my goodness, these people got parents." And
Yes.
they take them for granted. They don't call them when you wish you could call your mother.
Hello. Yes.
I was listening. I was saw on Facebook this lady had turned 99, and her son was 79, and
Mm,
he was just so happy that he lived to be 79, and his mother is 99. I thought that
wow.
was so sweet for him
Yes.
to realize that. But I just tell everybody, if you got a living parent, mother or father, stepmother, a grandmama, a big mama,
Yep.
please give them some attention and
Yes.
love. Show them their flowers. Don't have a funeral and you're going to be crying all over the funeral like the story. What is that movie? Imitation of Life,
Okay.
that old movie, and you just
Mhm.
crying at the, but just give your parents or those people cared for you. Don't
Yeah.
get too busy and too big and too full of yourself that you don't have time to call and just a 2-minute conversation. How you feel
Yeah.
today? I was checking
Right.
on you, thinking about you. So that's so important. And
Yes.
please, please,
Important.
please do that. But
Yes. Yes.
getting back to your book and reading some of the stories of the authors that you selected, you have an eye and an ear for people who got true stories.
Yeah.
This book the anthology, own it, anthology. I mean, you will be enlightened, you will be empowered, you'll be enchanted by some of the stories,
Yeah.
and you will be educated.
Yeah.
You can't be too educated to learn something else. And
Yeah.
reading these stories, I'm thinking, I don't know this lady, but I need to know her.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love her story, and I love the positiveness of the story. So I
Yeah.
just want to commend you
Thank you.
on picking these compelling authors. And one of my best friends, Dr. Renee Allen, is one of the honorary co-authors, and then Sharon Bullock and so many other
Yeah.
my dear friends who are
Yes.
authors in their own right. So I just want to commend you on two Amazon #1 bestsellers within what, 24 hours?
Yes,
So
yes,
big in
yes.
the
It's
market.
crazy because I said I was loading the books up to KDP, and it's when I was loading the books up to KDP, I said, "Oh God, Marisa, this is not just one book you got to get to bestseller. It's two books. You
Two
know, you're
books.
so busy working, you're so busy doing that you sometimes you don't capture everything." And I said, "Oh my God, Marisa, you have got to bring these both." But you know what? That's God's favor.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't take,
yes,
yeah, I don't
absolutely.
take, I don't take any credit for that. That was just God's favor, and we got it in personal, professional development, which it does. You know you can't take the one variable you can't change is yourself. You can't change
Uh-huh.
yourself out of any of the circumstances. So you have to develop yourself if you're going to show up well in your career. You have to develop yourself if you're going to show up well in your business. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what Own It focuses on: personal,
Yes,
professional, and business development. And that development all starts with the individual. That's why they have to. It's your life. You are the
yes.
CEO. It's time to take center stage,
Mm-hmm.
yourself stable and grounded, and own it. Own
Own
it.
it, own it.
Own
And
it.
see, that
Own it.
is so, that's like being driven.
Yep.
You own it. And so you can't just own it and not do something about it.
You
You
got to
got
be
to be
driven to
driven,
succeed.
self-driven. And so that just meshes so
Yes,
well.
it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have it was a three-phase project. The first phase was the anthology, the stories. Each story has an engaging activity at the end of it. And then we
Mhm.
have the 365-day journal, separate book, helping you to journal your way through the transformational process. And
Yes.
then phase three is here in the Dominican Republic with me, full conference and retreat excursion. We are going to be partying like rock stars because it is a season to celebrate. We did win #1 best-selling seller in Amazon for professional development. And so
Mm.
here's a little information for you. If you're interested in joining us, I hope you have your passport. I don't know if you can expedite it in a couple of weeks because before you know it, it will be April 26th, and we will be here April 26th to the 30th. So here's a little info for you. Check it out.
All right. Beautiful.
Yes, yes. It is Emotions Hotel Resort. And we're going to be right here on the beach. Super excited. And just excited to have, just to allow the authors to celebrate, to really embrace what this really means for each and every one of them. And thank you so very much. I want to close out with what you started out with. Own It is all about once you own it, now you have to help others to take center stage and own it,
Hmm.
to give back and to pour out. And what you started off with the three T's: time, treasure, and talent.
Hmm.
um, talk to our audience in closing in regards to what that means in connection with, being driven to succeed and really owning it.
Well, when you have the positive spirit and you believe in God, you have to do what He has told you to do. What's for you is for you. And so you have the faith and you're willing to work hard. And then once you reach success, although success is fluid,
Mhm.
success may be finishing high school. And then your
Mhm.
next level of success is finishing college. And your next level of success is buying a home. So success is fluid, but all during your process of being successful or self-actualized, you need to
Mhm.
be given back to someone, pulling them along with you or pulling them right behind you, the step that you just left. Let them get to that step. Don't worry about someone competing with you. When I got a job, even when I was vice president of Coppin, I used to tell my staff, my job is to train my replacement. They say,
Yep.
oh, you going someplace? You just got here. No, I want you to know everything I know. So if I'm
Right.
ever out of the building or someplace, I want you all to carry on as if I'm here. And a lot of people make that mistake. CEOs don't want anybody to know everything that they know because they're threatened by the
Right.
job. So with your talent, help someone else to come along. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. What do
Mhm.
you do with your 24 hours? Why do
Yeah.
some people get so much done in 24 hours and you just, well, the day got away from me? The day does not get away from you. You got to plan your 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you
You got
plan
to
leisure, plan leisure. If you
Yeah.
plan, have every minute. My kids, when they was growing up, they knew every half an hour what they're supposed to be doing. So after a while, I didn't have to tell them. So
Right.
the time, your treasure, and then of course, always give back. Even if it's $1, then it becomes $10. Give
Mhm.
something back to somebody so that your time, your talent, and your treasure, and whatever you can do, volunteer to help someone. It just feeds the soul when you can go out and help some people do that. So I just advise people to just do something. Wake up in the morning. If you call no more than 3 people, say, let me
Right.
call them, say hello. 3 people, give them 3 praises, and then you pray for 3 people. 3 times 3 times 3. Wake
Wow.
up and say, I'm going to call 3 people today I haven't talked to in a while. And then give them 3 compliments. And then you pray for 3 people. Could be the same people, but just make your day productive. You're going to feel so good at the end of the day that you did your 3 by 3 by 3
I
each day.
love that. I
Some people
love it.
haven't talked to in months and years. Pick up the phone and call them. You'll be surprised how you made their day.
I know. I know that wholeheartedly, because people are looking for inspiration.
Yes,
People are really
yes.
looking for inspiration.
Doesn't cost you anything.
No, it doesn't cost you anything. And
No,
even
no.
if it does cost you, it's not a lot. It's a little
It's
bit of
not
your
a lot.
time,
It's
a
not,
little
people
bit of
don't want
your
stuff.
wisdom.
Don't say I got to give you a present. I got to stop by and get. They just want you to call them and say hello. I was thinking about you. You're in my prayers, and you were on my mind. I just want to call and say hello, and I love you, and thank
Yeah,
you for everything. Oh my goodness, what that
yeah,
does to a
beautiful.
person
Yeah,
worth
beautiful.
$1 million. So we just need to do more of that,
Yeah, we do. We
especially
need.
the young people, the young generation. I don't want to call it, but many of the young people just forget to do that. You give them
Mhm.
some money for Thanksgiving or graduation, they don't even pick up the phone and call you and say thank you.
No, yeah,
Forget
no,
about getting
no,
a card. You know,
no.
we've got to train our young people that you call aunt somebody to
Yeah,
thank them for the money.
yep,
Oh, well, no, what, call them. And
yeah,
see, once you make them call, then they're going to get that in their blood. Oh, I got to call
right.
somebody and say thank you, because
Yeah.
they may not know they're supposed to do that.
No, they don't, and they're looking for that. I know, like I know, even that's something for me. As a grandmother, is I started messaging my granddaughter, and in the messaging, she messages back. She's like, she messaged me back, and I can tell because then, because I got to use WhatsApp. So in WhatsApp, it tells you the last time someone looked or was online. So you
Uh-huh.
get a chance to see. And they are looking for that. She looks for that. She looks for that.
But it
Um,
goes both ways. Both
yes,
ways.
yes,
Not
yes,
just
it
one
does.
way.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Call
does.
back to grandma and say, thank you so much, grandma,
Yeah, yeah,
And
and she
so,
does.
and people need to know it's not about stuff. We got
No,
enough stuff. We don't need any more presents
no.
and spa
We need
packages or anything of the
no,
sort.
we need quality, and quality
Quality
is
time is not quantity time, just a few seconds.
quality.
I just, even if you leave a message, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you and thank you so much for everything. And you were on my mind. And I just want to say thank you, Aunt Marissa, Grandma Marissa, Aunt Hattie. That it just means so much. And I'm just blessed to have that type of foster boys calling me and my son and daughters. And
Yeah.
everybody needs that. I want that for everybody.
Yes, 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 yes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have been with Dr. Hattie Washington, which is a treasure, and she's been dropping nuggets of wisdom, inspiration all through this interview. She's Aunt Hattie to me. I truly love her and appreciate and value her. And yeah, we've been speaking tonight from the heart and just letting you know that we're touching base with you and saying you got to tap in. You got to
Yes,
tap in and get reconnected
yes,
emotionally, in your time, in your commitment. And I like how you reference self actualization because
yes,
in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he tells you at the fifth level of development and self actualization. It's when you come into the fullness of who you are. Self actualization is not about perfection, it's about that total freedom of being comfortable with who you are, being happy with who you are. And it's such a level of freedom that Maslow argues that you want to go back and you are compelled. You are
yes,
so compelled to reach back and teach other people how to rise up because at the fourth level you get stuck in
yes.
whether or not people approve of you.
Mm-hmm,
You get
mm-hmm.
stuck in conformity.
That's
And
not
Maslow says,
self-activation.
yeah,
No.
Maslow
Mm-hmm.
says if you break through
Mm-hmm.
trying to please everybody else and you just come into the fullness of yourself, that it's so liberating and it feels so good. You just got to help other people. That's when you
Yes.
know you've reached self actualization.
And the next level after that, once you become all that you know God has purposed for you to be, then what are you doing to help other people
Yes,
to come along? That's the next level. If you just successful and don't do anything to help anybody else, that is not true success in the extent of reach one, teach one. So a lot of people get to that level and they're just satisfied. Right? I got my millions and I got my house and thank you, Lord, I have arrived. But they don't do anything to help. And so the next level after self-actualization is to give back and pay it forward. And that is the level that is truly intrinsic and it reaches the soul, whereby you feel so liberated, as Marissa says, you own not only what God has done for you, but what you've been able to do to help somebody else get to your level. And that
yeah,
is the true success of
that's
what success is all about, being driven and then help somebody else to feel driven as well. And you pass it on, keep passing it on to the next generation.
keep passing on. That's fulfillment. And in that you
Yes,
find great joy. You get
yes,
find great joy.
yes, yes,
And so we
absolutely.
love you people. We are out.
Love you, love you.
I knew
And
we
thank,
weren't going to be able to not go an hour. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're out. Till next time, you know how to get connected and stay connected with
yes,
Dr. Hattie Washington. Make sure
absolutely.
you go to her website, check out all her publications, as well as all the stuff that she's done. And make sure you reach out to her, connect with her. If you have a podcast, invite her, have her on your
I would
podcast.
love to.
She
And send
is
me
a
your
treasure.
email so you can get the monthly newsletter I send out. So you can send me your email by way of my website or my
Yeah.
phone number is on there. You can text me your email, then I add you to my village of supporters. And so
Yes.
you can see what's going on each month when we send something out.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Marissa,
So
you are the best. I just love you. I love your spirit. I love your positiveness, and I love how you're influencing other people, not just women,
yep.
but anyone who has a dream, and you can help them fulfill it. And you write about them. You help them. You sort of force them to write about themselves. I don't have anything to say. I don't have a story. Everybody has a story to tell.
Story. Yes.
And you'd be surprised how many people want to read your story. So
Yes.
start writing down your stories, writing down your notes, doing journals, brainstorming, just writing down stuff. It's just
Yes.
no order, just list things,
Yes.
brainstorming. Pretty soon you have
Yes.
names for different chapters.
Yes, 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 honey. Yes, it's so amazing. It's so amazing. And it's just causing that river to begin to flow.
Yeah, and
Begin to
I
flow.
do my workshops. I show people how to get started. How do you get started writing your book? I do a workshop and I teach them how to get started. And another book I have coming out next year is how to publish your own book, from A to Z, from soup to nuts. And we
Ooh,
start with from the beginning,
yes,
and you know things I didn't know and learn the hard way. You won't have to go through all of that I did.
yes,
So the mistakes I made. So that should be look for that next year that will be coming out.
yes. And we'll have her back so you'll know. But make sure you connect with her. Go to her website, connect with her, get on her list so that you can receive the monthly newsletter because she does
Yes.
come out monthly. And she
Mm-hmm.
is full of so much educational knowledge. The newsletter will give you history lessons, it'll give you current things that are happening. It is very educational and informative. And so make sure you get connected. We love you
That's the
guys.
teacher. That's the teacher in me.
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So you guys, we love you. You take care. Be
Love
blessed.
you.
We're
Take
out.
care. God bless you. And thank you. Marissa, you are the best, sweet pie.
Aw.